Good morning all. This video has two messages. The first being censorship, and the second being there are plenty of things around you that are able to assist your body in its immune function, its ability to reduce inflammation, which, if you look at the data now and if you listen to the scientists and the medical practitioners, then the inflammation is the thing that's causing all the damage, not the actual thing itself. And if you look at a lot of chronic diseases, it's the inflammation that causes a lot of the damage. And if we can get that under control, or if we can help alleviate some of that over response or super response of your immune system to create chronic inflammation, the better it would seem we are. So the first one is censorship, and that is, I don't post particularly outlandish things on this page. I don't publish data that goes against the narrative that much on this page. I do, and I did do with regards to vitamin D, sunlight, red light therapy. I do occasionally because I think it's very important that we are able to have an open discussion and able to post things that allow people to read different narratives that are not necessarily the accepted narrative. But I do that on my personal page with regards to other narratives. And in the last 6 to 8 weeks, I've most definitely felt it in my, let's just say, in my wallet, with my reach that the videos get, with my interactions that my posts get, both here and Instagram, etc., etc. I've noticed that it's gone down a lot, and subsequently so have my sales. Now, it's important that, it's important for all science that we don't allow censorship to occur just to uphold one particular narrative, because science is critical. There has to be a growth, and without a competing narrative, without competing scientific ideas, then you don't get to correct your mistakes. You just keep on making those mistakes. And if you are being censored and it is having an impact on your wallet indirectly, then that is there to make you less likely to do that in the future, and that's a shame. So if you see or hear anything that you appreciate in these videos, then please do like and share them to spread the word. Like I say, I don't do, the videos on this are just about things that people ought to know, like how important light is to your everyday health is important, and somehow that is getting, I'm pretty sure that is getting affected by my personal opinions that aren't posted on this. So like for example, last year when I talked about vitamin D and the importance and the correlation, not causation, correlation of people in ICUs and whatnot with a certain vitamin D level, were pretty much non-existent, as it were. But that was against the narrative that was being pushed, and therefore, and I talk about vitamin D, the importance of vitamin D, and as I say, the second part of this video is going to talk about inflammation and the importance of being able to control inflammation, because we need acute inflammation. Let's not get everyone scared of inflammatory process. It is a crucial process in our body's ability to heal itself. However, there's a difference between acute inflammation, i.e. it happens in a very short space of time in order to drive a certain response, and chronic inflammation. Now, chronic inflammation is a problem. and it is a problem that occurs more and more regularly, and it is a problem seen in a lot of chronic diseases. And what people don't get told is they go on these anti-inflammatories or whatever, but you very rarely get told that vitamin D is a very powerful modulator of inflammatory response. Not just the initial acute inflammatory response, but the ability to put the brakes on the inflammatory response, so your body can get to the next stage and heal itself. You don't get told that sunlight has a very important anti-inflammatory role. Not to mention that it has actually blood pressure lowering qualities as well. You don't get told that. Like, you get pushed certain medications rather than potentially natural stuff that can actually help you, like getting out in the sunlight for the anti-inflammatory properties, but also the blood pressure lowering properties, and also the vitamin D synthesizing properties. You've got three in one just by getting out sensible sun exposure. And I'm going to do a bigger video on it later on about just how awesome sunlight is and how awesome your body is at converting sunlight and storing it for later use if you need it. But we don't get told about, okay, make sure your circadian rhythm is up to scratch. Make sure your circadian rhythm is not too distorted, because we know that the circadian rhythm distortion or disruption elevates cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, which elevates stress, which interferes and kind of makes your immune function on supercharge. So ideally we want to drop that down. We don't want chronically elevated levels of cortisol, and one of the ways that we can do that is by sorting out a sleep pattern, because disrupted night sleep elevates cortisol, which elevates inflammation. And so again, something that is easy to do is to get to bed at the right time, have healthy sleep hygiene, not too warm a bedroom, dark bedroom. If you need white noise, have white noise. If you need absolute silence, have silence. But again, this isn't something that is being pushed, and why is it not being pushed? I don't understand. Red light therapy, infrared light therapy, we've seen there's been quite a few anecdotal studies or papers published with regards to and with regards to specifically this thing that's going on now, and red light and light therapy, and how it can be beneficial. But not just that, there's randomized control trials that have a fly keeps landing on me, that have shown the anti-inflammatory properties of red and infrared light, the inflammatory modulating properties of red and infrared light. And once we start to understand that I've just given you 5 things that have the ability to modulate your inflammatory process for the better. And when I'm not allowed to talk about them, or when I this isn't even me talking about the big things that are happening, the big things that are occurring, that is just close to evil, I think. But these things where I should be allowed to talk about daylight, sunlight, sleep. I should be able to talk about red and infrared light with regards to inflammation, because inflammation is the big danger here. Chronic inflammation, with a whole host of chronic diseases. And so you need to understand that there are certain things, like sleep, like daylight, like red and infrared light, that don't have any kind of side effects. They just have upsides. And you can implement them in your life very easily. And that's the thing that we should be looking for right now, is things that we can do to help the population live a better, healthier lifestyle that minimises risks, not just from this one thing, but minimises the risks from a whole host of other things. Now, I haven't mentioned sauna use, I haven't even mentioned cold exposure. Those things also are highly have high effects on inflammatory proteins. And again, these are things that are not just effective for the one thing that everybody is concerned about right now, but a whole host of chronic inflammatory diseases, chronic diseases. And so that's where we should also be having a lot of focus right now. Instead, I see, McDonald's has opened 50 new restaurants in the UK or something like that. Oh, goody. And that's why censorship is never, never, never a good thing. Rational, scientific discussion is always going to beat censorship, because it allows you to learn from your mistakes. And without a competing idea, you won't learn from your mistakes. You'll just keep making the same mistakes. And that's not scientific. Anyway, have a great day. And perhaps utilise some of the things that I've said here about the sleep, about the sunlight, sensible sunlight, vitamin D sensors, red and infrared light, and their ability to modulate immune function. And perhaps you yourself can make individual positive gains, positive changes that will positively impact your outcome of you and your family. Have a great day, get enough light, and stay healthy.